the Red Dragon here from BattleStrats.com, and I am in the mood to talk a little bit about Battlefield 3. Now, we are still a ways off from the Battlefield 3 release. It's coming out later this year, and there is a big reveal coming up March 1st. So we're going to be keeping our eyes on that, but until then, now, since it's so far away, is the time to send in our request to let DICE know what exactly we as Battlefield players and lovers want in the next game in the series. So let's take a look at, Battlefield 3. We don't know hardly anything about it, but what we do know is that it's supposed to be kind of going back to its roots with Battlefield 2, which was released on the PC. Now, some of you I know are console users who have never played Battlefield 2 or 1942 or Battlefield the original. So you're unfamiliar with what exactly you've been missing out on. Because I have to tell you, I've played those games. Battlefield 2 was one of, actually I'm going to say it, it's my favorite game of all time. I've had more fun on Battlefield 2 than I ever did on any other games. The Bad Company 2 series on the consoles didn't even come close to the amount of fun that I've had on Battlefield 2 in the past. So what made Battlefield 2 so good, and compare that to what we've got in Bad Company 2, and hopefully I've got a few things that will make Battlefield 3 one of the best games ever. That's right, I said it, ever. So one thing that made Battlefield 2 a little bit different than Bad Company 2 is that they focused solely on multiplayer. Battlefield 2 didn't even have a single player. In fact, Battlefield, the game, has never had a single player up until later on in years. It started out as only multiplayer focused. So when Battlefield players jump in, they usually expect a great multiplayer and not so much the single player. We don't really care about the single player, to be honest. So how do we focus on multiplayer? Start out with maps. We got to have maps. I've told you this. I've harped on it over and over and over. You know it's going to be one of the first things I mention is that we didn't have enough variety when it came to maps for Bad Company 2. Vietnam just released, and it's 9 months way too late. I tried to get my friends to buy it, and they're like, I've already gotten rid of that game. That was months ago. I'm not going to go rebuy a game just to purchase the DLC when they should have came out with more maps a long time ago. There just wasn't enough variety. Now they've got a ton of maps for Bad Company 2, but it's just too late because a lot of people have just moved on and given up. Not only do I want more maps and more variety, I want bigger maps. I want to go back to Battlefield 2. Battlefield 2 had huge maps. They had maps big enough where you could drive jets on, and it was amazing. It was so much fun, and the Battlefield 2 experience had 64 players on it. Now, when we got to Bad Company 2, it got dumbed down to 24, so you went from 64 to 24. Now, they're going to tell you, well, you're on consoles, so you can't have 64 players. Consoles is more limited than the PC, but I don't buy that as much anymore, because look at MAG. MAG came out on the PS3, and it has 256 players online. Yeah, the graphics may not be as good, but who cares? Who cares about graphics? I could have an awesome game with terrible graphics and still have a ton of fun, but I can't say the same that if I have great graphics and a really bad game that I'm going to have fun with it. It just doesn't work that way. I'd rather have better gameplay and not top-notch graphics. I don't need the best graphics that's known to man. I'm happy with good gameplay. Give us some customization. Our characters all look the same. You've got all, 10 medics or snipers on the team looking exactly the same and dressed the same. Let us, put on some paint or different camouflage or do something to stand out from the crowd. Speaking of snipers and medics, one, we need to get rid of health regeneration. Make the medics, work at their job and have them, be totally responsible for people's health. And secondly, don't make it where everybody wants to pick up a sniper and that it's so easy to kill people, especially on hardcore mode. Take the sniper, add some wind, add more bullet drop, make it feel good whenever you're able to kill somebody and actually have to use skill. I think I heard somebody say, bring back prone. Hello, why was Bad Company 2 limited to only 4 people per squad? That's the same with Bad Company. I have a lot more friends than that, and I need to be able to play with more than just 4 people in my squad. So we've got to up that limit along with the player count. Speaking of squads, if somebody's the squad leader, give them a little bit more responsibility. Make it so that maybe we can only spawn on the squad leader and not just on anybody in the group. And something else about spawns, maybe make it so that there's certain areas where you can't spawn, say like right on top of the freaking enemy base. Make it so that, we have to be further out, or else if we are on the base, we can only spawn if the squad leader was good enough to stay alive. Speaking of leaders, Battlefield 2 had a commander mode, and what it was before each game started, people put in their name if they wanted to be, you know, on the list of people who could be the commander. People would then go through and vote on it, and if you won, then you had a lot more power than everybody else. You were the commander of that team, and it was an awesome feature that I wish they would bring back for Battlefield 3. With the commander mode, the commander could, you know, fight on the ground like a regular soldier, but then they could also enter this mode where they were like looking down on the map, like using satellite imagery. They could drop down supply crates for ammo, or they could call in artillery strikes, throw in a UAV, but they could also communicate to the rest of the team and let them know, hey, you know, you're coming up on a squad of units up ahead, and good commanders could really control the battlefield. And it made for some awesome strategic gameplay for people who used it correctly. And I would like to see that brought back. And also the ability for, you know, squads to talk to one another in game. Being able to talk with only 4 people is just a little ridiculous, especially when you have a game that's focused so much on teamwork and team play. And you can't have teamwork without good communication. And so we need to be able to figure out some way to be able to talk to our teammates. Speaking of modes like Commander mode, how about actually gameplay modes? We've got Rush, we've got Conquest, we've got Onslaught, which didn't do too hot. I mean, it was fun whenever it first came out, but it quickly became old and stale. How about bringing back some more modes like the Titan mode that was in Battlefield 2142? For those of you who played on the PC, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Another thing I'd like to be able to do is private matches. Not private matches where I have to have, you know, 8 or 12 people in order to start the game. Let me start a local match, go in there, play with all the toys, because, you know, I don't want to be in game and have to camp out the chopper in order to learn how to fly it. Let people go in there and kind of learn how exactly to use all the tools and features in the game before they get online and have to, you know, tick off all their teammates. One feature that's almost a must is theater mode. You gotta have the ability to be able to replay those videos, be able to show them to your teammates, be able to share it, those awesome moments that no other game has. You know, we have theater mode in Halo, we have it in Black Ops, and the feature is an awesome feature. It's one of the top things that I would recommend for Battlefield 3, because so many awesome moments go, you know, out to never be relived again. And I want to be able to relive those moments and share them with the community with theater mode. And finally, variety. Variety, variety, variety. We have to have variety in maps, variety in players, variety in classes. Give us more classes. Give us more reasons to want to rank up to level 50. I mean, my God, I have played Battlefield a ton. I've spent a lot of time in it, in the game, you know, in the last several months since it came out. And I'm still at like the high 30s or low 40s. I'm nowhere near to the maxing out at 50. And most players who are at 50, you know, they figured out some way to get there unlegitimately or whatever. I don't care. But give us some reasons to want to go to 50. You know, as Bad Company 2, you let us unlock everything at like level 11 or something. So we weren't playing long at all before we had everything there. And so the only thing we were going for is like little stars or medals or something. So, you know, make us want to go out there and progress and keep on playing to unlock more features and have more things. And if you're going to set the bar that high at 50 and make it so people have to live on the game in order to reach it, you know, throw in a few double XP weekends or something that, you know, other developers have been able to do in the past. I really want to hear what you have to say as, you know, fans of the Battlefield series. Did you play the PC? Do you know what I'm talking about or where I'm coming from? What do you think about my wish list? Do you have anything to add to it? If so, let me know. Check the link in the description box. I'm going to put an article where I'm going to list all this out. You know, I'd love for you to comment on it. Maybe we'll send it over to DICE if we get enough support. And we'll say, hey, here's our wish list. Please take a look at it. Thanks for watching. I am the Red Dragon, and stay tuned to battlestrats.com for the latest information on Battlefield 3.